Greetings, everyone. It's Barbara. And as you can see right off the top, this is going to be a review from Fashion Royalty, the new Monarchs collection, which is a subdivision, I think, of their Homme collection, their male dolls for Fashion Royalty. Again, just a moment to speak praise to the box. It is a really, really deep navy blue with black lettering and a butterfly motif at the crown, which I will now get my fingers out of the way so you can see it. The back of the box with some dust. It's okay. It's magic dust. Is going to say Monarchs Home with the Integrity Toys logo and the credits, which unfortunately I cannot read because they are too dark. Though I'm going to assume there we go, a little more light. Von Sawyer designs the Fashion Royalty Home Monarchs. The packaging is by Alain Tremblay. And we're going to put this back down for a second to explain to you who this is and the story that we were given before I reveal him. This is going to be a most influential character. This is going to be Paolo Marino, who is the younger brother of Perry Marino. And if you remember, Perry Marino used to be married to Natalia Fatal, or they're still married but they're living separate lives. Well, now Paulo kind of wants to get in on the action. His brother's business, professionally and personally. So without any further ado, let's meet the most influential one. There he is. This is Paulo. Now, this is the first time in a while we've had a proper businessman suit, which is wonderful, and I love it. But we got to talk about first, as always, this is a new sculpt. It is a new character, so we need to talk about him a little bit. So we're going to move him a little bit closer, and I'm going to lift him up. Now, here's the thing about Paulo that everybody kind of has some questions about. Paulo is supposed to be an older character. Note that he has a great deal of gray hair in his hair. I'll say more about the hair in a second. And yes, the promo pictures made his face look really young. And maybe they hurt us because in the detailing, they did try to add some furrows to his brow. Um, but there aren't any laugh lines around his lips, and the eyes certainly don't show a good deal of age. So it's hard to know if this character is actually someone who is closer to Perry's age, somebody in their late 30s, early 40s, or if this is somebody much younger than that who has decided, as many young people do these days, to dye their hair. Just to go through the rest of it, obviously he's not wearing any makeup. There's like a streak of brown above the black eyeliner, but I think that's more to accent the eyes, which are blue. And I think that is basically just to cover that he is a man of purpose. Obviously, there are no eyelashes, and his lips are that neutral color of mauve, very light mauve. As I said, his hair is gray, and in keeping with what they've been doing lately with fashion royalty men and the industry, he's half flocked, Flocked, half flocked, and the top of his hair is rooted with some product, not a tremendous amount. And I do appreciate that he's got gray hair. I'd appreciate it a lot more if he looked like an older person, which we'll talk a little bit more about when I show you Paolo next to his brother Perry close up. Let's move on. I'm going to put the camera down. And let's very quickly take a look at his coat. I feel bad, like I'm doing this review in the middle of summer here in New York, so it's like, why am I torturing this man with an overcoat? Dolls don't feel it. Um, it is a proper overcoat. It is sewn together. It's sort of it's not it's more of a stylish overcoat. It's got several tones to it. Mostly gray, but a darker gray in patches on both sides. I think that's to add a little bit of casual to the look, which I appreciate because, and and we'll get to it. There is there's a lot more casual to this look than I was anticipating. The coat is of course lined, and it is lined in that dark gray that you will see here. So let's very quickly take off his hands so I can take his coat off. And just because you're going to hear it clank, I'm going to very quickly show you, but we will talk more about this. He does come with a timepiece, a watch. Okay. Now I put the stand on in such a way that I could just very easily take the coat off without having to take off his stand, and that did work somewhat well. The stand sort of matches his overall look. So I'm just going to push him back. I'm going to take another quick look at his coat. As I said, fully lined, set in arms, quality, quality. I may be obsessing over this a little bit because I'm still recovering from best to tea. You would think maybe there's a belt here. There's not. There's also not that usual pleat at the top to give a little give when you put the coat on, though there is a proper vent in the back where you would expect it. The coat does close with hook and eye, but I am not going to do that. Before I will spend a little more time here. I'll use the edge of the scissors. There we go. This is the timepiece. It's nice in the sense that it has the air of an I say Omega. I think it's really pronounced Omega, or at least that's what James Bond says in the Bond movies. So I'm not sure if it's Omega or an Omega, but it has that, somewhat active, somewhat professional feel. It is not a band, it is a chain set in silver. This is the left hand. He comes actually with 3 sets of hands. So since I'm sitting here and I'm rehanding him, I'm handing it to him, haha. Maybe this would be a good time to actually take a minute and talk about his hands. Let me put his left hand back on. Okay, I promise we'll get to the actual doll in a second. But since I'm thinking about it, very quickly just to say what his hands are. He does come with the other famous set of dialing hands, or in this case, touchscreen hands. He does have the closed. It's very strange. Both left hands are closed hand, and both right hands are open hands. Not sure why. You don't get both hands open until you get to this, which is his coat hands, gloved hands, which are textured in such a way to look like this is an actual glove. But they are painted on, so obviously these are not going to come off. And if you notice, the paint ends where the cuff would naturally cover the rest of the hand. And it is meant to match, again, the dark gray of the coat. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about his suit. It is two pieces, not three. I've not. I'm sure somebody's going to remind me when this happened, but I really don't think anybody for Home has ever done a three-piece suit for the guys. But this is a two-piece blazer. The base is navy. The check is a honey brown. So it is checked. It is not striped. It is checked in honey brown. This is where I thought it was very interesting. Um, the pants are cuffed. The pants are cuffed. That's not necessarily the part that I find interesting. I liked cuff pants. That's perfectly fine. But he's got no socks. Oops, he has no socks. And usually with a dress suit, you'd have socks. Well, he doesn't. And his loafers are meant to look suede with a cream or off-white sole, which I would suspect would be like a rubber sole, or certainly not a harder sole, a slippery sole. Little buckle detailing in the front, and the blue suede is just a smidge darker than his suit, but though clearly this is meant to match the suit. So the overall feel between the patchwork on the jacket and the no socks shoes, this is a little more casual, it's a little more youthful. The suit also, oops, let me push this back. The suit opens with hook and eye, as I just did, and it is lined in blue suiting. There's the IT label. His pants are going to close in the front with hook and eye and a proper zipper. He does not have a belt, and there isn't one that came with the accessories. I'm having you see the one thing that's kind of annoying about the cuff is I can't really see if the pants are lined. So let me take it off the stand. Look up the pants leg. Yes, they are lined. Yep, let me bring it down. Yes, they are lined. I'd be surprised if they weren't. And then the rest of this look, I'm just going to take the jacket off a little bit to show you two things. One, get a little closer here. The buttons, even though this is hook and eye, there is detailing on the buttons like they would be cloth covered buttons, but they're not. It's like a white paint over the buttons. And the shirt is fitted in the front with darts on either side of the button line. And there's a little bit of striping. It's the same white, but there's some striping in the shirt that also goes into the arms. Though again, I repeat, this is going to close with hook and eye. Yes, this is a silk red tie. Some folks might have a problem with that because of who's currently known for wearing red ties. The back of the shirt, surprisingly, this is not an Oxford, which would have, again, that pleat at the neck. It is not an Oxford shirt. It's a well-tailored shirt for Paolo, but it is not an Oxford shirt, and you don't have the faux buttons at the collar. Just to lift up the jacket, hopefully I can get to the shirt. Yeah, I can. Oops. Here we go. So as you can see, or you will see in a moment, the shirt is going to close with 4 faux buttons on either side. Same kind of buttoning detail as the main part of the shirt. But there have been times where the cuff has had a hook and eye. In this case, it does not. So he so there's a good deal of detailing here, and I think that's all pretty much I want to say about the suit and about him proper. But we are going to pause here, and the next thing I want to do is have him next to his brother so we can talk a little bit more about the rest of his accessories and the difference kind of between him and his brother. All right, so let's pause here, and we'll be right back. So here are the Merino brothers side by side. Perry is obviously on what is my left. That's Perry. That's Paolo. And I think it's mostly because of the way that I have the stand set up that Paolo looks a little bit taller. He might also be a little bit taller. This is also a comparison between an old Homme body and the new Monarch body. So you know what? Paolo just might naturally be that little bit taller. So Perry, if we bring this in a little bit closer, by the way, I'm using the stand that came with Lilith and Eden at this point, so in case anyone's wondering. Looking at it, it looks like right now Paolo has a half inch on his brother. Interestingly, now seeing them side by side, and I thought this might be the case, Perry has the same kind of salt and pepper hair as his brother, but his has much more product. The facial skin tone is basically the same, but again, Perry, this is the original Perry, so this doll is starting to show its age a little bit. And this is not, by the way, what Perry originally came in. This is how I dressed him for the Oscars. So, as brothers, they don't necessarily look alike. Um, and again, I think this is where the half inch is going to make the difference. Um, the chin, I think Paolo's face is a little bit fuller. And I'm not sure if that's, again, the newness of Paolo against the age of Perry, or Paolo just is meant to have a fuller face. The noses are the same, though again, because Paolo's face is fuller, it looks fuller, but the noses are the same. The lips are the same color. I guess they would be the same otherwise, except Perry has a little, you can see a little bit of Perry's teeth. Paolo's mouth is completely closed. Um, yeah, and that's about it. They both do have blue eyes. Interestingly, that detail that I talked about, the brown streak right above the eye, that's in both of them. I don't know if that was a deliberate detail or not, but that is in both of them. Um, I guess I could crank out a tape measure and try to figure out, because I'm looking at this now, where the natural waist would be. So I'm going to just very quickly take them off the stand, which means something's going to go over. Um, but I'm going to, yeah. Paolo is definitely taller. You're seeing the shoulders are meeting, but then Paolo's neck is a little longer, which is giving him that little bit more of height. And looking at it, raising their arms up and over, which I will do right now, I'm going to say, and hopefully not be wrong, and I'm going to say that Paolo's waist is, it's either the lower cut of the pant or Paolo's waist is a little higher. I'm not stripping these guys down to find out. I'm not that desperate. But I think I mean, I will probably at some point do a full comparison video between Monarch and Homme, just to see exactly where it goes. By the way, you know what I was going to say? These were Perry's original shoes. They're not. I just don't remember who they came from. Okay. But there are the brothers. Now, There's a couple of other accessories that Paolo came with that I just want to talk about before we go. The first one is a pair of glasses that exactly match the Monarch box. If you remember, at the very beginning when I showed you the Monarch box, these glasses match it exactly. Now, how well they will stay on his face? Oh, there we go. Very easily. For once, no tears. The really cool accessory that everybody is, of course, talking about is the umbrella that is fully functional. Um, it's I you saw an umbrella like this with the Jessica Lange character from American Horror Story. She also came with an umbrella like this. But just remembering it, this feels fuller, heavier, especially at this handle. You would, of course, no one can talk to a horse, of course. Unless, of course, they're the famous Mr. Ed. You undo the strap, and it will pretty much automatically start to unfurl. Hopefully, the legend about bad luck to open an umbrella in the house does not apply to 1/6 scale umbrellas. It opens, this again, this has a good, it feels heavier, it has a good deal more depth to it as an umbrella. This is it fully opened. Some of you might also have the Poppy clear umbrella. This is much heavier than the Poppy clear umbrella as well. It's very, very well constructed. A while back, there was a company, and of course their name goes out of my head, but they were making 1/6 scale umbrellas in all sorts of colors. This is even heavier than that, and those umbrellas were really well made too. Closes as you would close any other umbrella, and that's it. I don't think you're going to be surprised by the words that are about to come out of my mouth. You absolutely 1000% want to get this. You want to get Paolo. You might also want to get Perry if you can find him on the secondary market. He's come down quite a bit. But Paolo right now is hot. And if you didn't get him through the W Club, luckily I got hooked up. But if you didn't get him through a kind person in the W Club, you're going to have to wait probably between 4 to 6 months from June 2020. So you were talking about your Christmas present to yourself this year, may be a nude Paolo or the fully dressed Paolo. It's going to be a while before he comes down in price. I have heard some people are not terribly in love with his hair. I dig it. I don't know what I would do if I actually washed it out, so I'm not going to. But I like it. I like him. I think he's very attractive. He gives me, especially with his glasses on, a Clark Kent vibe. So if you are someone who does 1/6 scale figures and you're not in love with any of the current sculpts out there, and maybe you want to give your Clark Kent your own sense of personality, this isn't a bad one to do a Clark Kent with. Um, and I don't think, and whenever you can get a decent suit out of Integrity, get it, get it, because they do amazing suits. And again, about this time last year, with the industry, with the Love is Love gift set, you had two incredibly well-tailored shirts. They've done it again with Paolo. A very nicely tailored white shirt, so you can never go wrong with that. So definitely get your hands on him if you can at a reasonable price. I'm really glad that I was able to get him at a very reasonable price. So you're going to see Paolo again really soon. He will be my model for a review coming up of a remint set of male accessories. I'm going to use Paolo and Perry as the models for that. So for right now, for Paolo and Perry and me, I'm Barbara. I believe I'm going to squeeze this in between my Barbie inspirational women series. So the next reviews are going to go back to the Barbies, and then you're going to also see the remints in there too. So take care, everybody, and keep watching. Bye bye.